This morning I was working with two different clients, and both of them are using LinkedIn, and both of them have one primary purpose, and that is to build their personal brands. And both of them were making the same mistakes that a lot of people make in using LinkedIn, again, if their primary goal is to build their personal brand. Now, I'm going to share with you the mistakes that were made. I'm going to give you some ideas that you can use that, and if your primary purpose or one of your primary purposes is to build your personal brand on LinkedIn. But before I do, if you like what I share, hit the subscribe button or comment on my videos, because that really helps me out and I appreciate you for doing so. Number one, here's what they were doing, which a lot of people do. And they were on LinkedIn and they were scrolling through the news feed, and all they were doing was banging on the like button, which a lot of people do. They bang on the like button, and they'll choose one of the emoticons, either like or celebrate or support or love or insightful, and that does not build your personal brand. Now, that might be a tactic that you could use for nurturing relationships. If I want to nurture my relationships with grand personnel, then I may, tap the like button and show them that I cared enough, little teeny bit, I cared enough to show up and like their content. But in the context of building your personal brand, that does nothing for you. So that was the first mistake that these two gentlemen were making, that a lot of people make. They think that's worthwhile doing. And it is not worthwhile doing if your intent is to build your brand. So that's number one. All right, here's the second thing that they were doing that a lot of people make the same mistake, and that is they were reposting content on LinkedIn. Now, don't misunderstand me. Sharing content on LinkedIn is a great way to build your brand if the content you are sharing is highly relevant to your brand or to the brand you are building. But the mistake they were making is that they were finding content on LinkedIn and they were hitting the share button and then they were banging repost. That does not, for the most part, does not build your brand. Now, don't misunderstand me. In the same context as hitting the like button on someone's content, that can be beneficial. Reposting is beneficial to my friends at Urtic Works, but repost does not build your brand. What builds your brand is when your words show up. And your words show up when you comment or reply to a piece of content on LinkedIn. That's called participating in the conversation. Or your brand shows up, and your brand can develop when you share with or repost with your thoughts. When you repost, all that does, let me find a repost. Give me a second, I'll find one. Here's a repost here. Now, I see that Kim Williams reposted this, but all it did was take that post from US Duct and put it back into my, in this case, my news feed. In Kim's context, it puts it back into some of his network's news feed for us to see the US Duct post. Now, again, that's great for US Duct because all the likes and comments that happen are happening here. But this does not help Kim build his brand. If Kim wanted to build his brand, if anybody wants to build your brand, instead of doing a repost, what you want to do is you want to share a piece of content that you find. And when you share a piece of content you find, here's a great example. Again, my friends Urtic Works, they shared this piece of content from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Urtic. They shared it. They basically hit share with their thoughts, and they added to the conversation right here. They added to the conversation. That is how you use sharing or reposting with your thoughts to get your brand out there. Another way of doing it would be to simply comment on it And when you comment on that content, you're helping this content to get more eyeballs, but at the same time, you're also bringing your philosophies, your perspectives, your ideas, your experiences relevant to that conversation, i.e., you're bringing your brand to the discussion. So the bottom line is, back to the top, if you want to build your brand on LinkedIn, you need to use your words. Don't use the like button. Don't use repost. Instead, use comment and or repost of your thoughts in order to get your brand discovered on LinkedIn. Hey, I'm Teddy. I love using LinkedIn as a business tool, and I hope these ideas are helpful for you.